Welcome to Guthrie Sports Page Television. Chris Evans with the coach Chris LeGrande as the Blue Jays win it tonight by a score of 35-7. They are now 3-0 on the season. Extend that winning streak to 17 games in a row. And Coach LeGrande, the Blue Jays win it by 28 points, 372 yards. And the Blue Jays, more importantly, get the win here. But it's a little sluggish still, but more importantly, the win.
Yeah, you go back and you look at the final statistics, and you'll notice that the Blue Jays had 13 penalties for 95 yards, which cannot be pleasing to the coaching staff. And couple that with the fact that they had 5 turnovers, but were still able to win the football game by a 35-7 score. I think overall they have to be pleased because, number one, they're 3-0, and number two, they extend, as you just said, they extend that 17-game winning streak, which is the longest winning streak among the larger classes in the state of Oklahoma.
Morrison Wildcats, 42-game winning streak in the smaller schools, but Blue Jays jump out to a 7-0 lead. Control Brothers with the touchdown reception. Blue Jays went quickly up to 14-0 when Callens had a 30-yard touchdown run to put Jays up 14-0, but Piedmont gets on the board, and the Blue Jays allow a touchdown for the first time this season. Yeah,
and and you going into halftime, the score is 14-7, and we have a ball game going. And one of the few times in the past year and a half that the Blue Jays have actually been challenged, and give it up to the defense. Though there were several opportunities after halftime for Piedmont to actually score due to Blue Jay turnovers, but consequently the defense stepped up and was able to shut the door on Piedmont, and they were not able to score anymore after intermission. So hats off to the Blue Jay defense, even though the offense still has work to do.
And on the radio, we said we did not want to be in that halftime locker room, and the Blue Jays came out with the spark. You said they needed to come out with the spark, and Dante Foster, our Huddle House Player of the Week, gave the Blue Jays a spark on the play.
Yeah, they actually had a reverse to Dante Foster, and I tell you what, once he received the pitch and got to the corner, the entire defense was lined up on the strong side of the field, and he got by the cornerback and just used his athleticism to get into the end zone. Just a fabulous run and athletic play by the senior Dante Foster.
Blue Jays 372 yards of total offense. They averaged 310 going into the contest. Blue Jays 230 yards on the ground, 142 through the air. Keaton Callens, another solid performance throwing the football. 3 touchdowns, had 2 interceptions.
Yeah, Keaton did a good job tonight. He's a senior. He's a leader on this football team. And even though he had a couple of interceptions, he also had some beautiful runs from the quarterback position tonight. And a lot of times we don't give Keaton the credit he deserves. He's a really good runner, and he exhibited that tonight on 2 long touchdown runs. And so I think his play, as far as leading the offense and showing that senior leadership, was very instrumental in this Blue Jay victory.
And another part of the offense, Clayton Smith goes down with the injury and had to, I believe, a knee was dislocated and put it back in. And so it was better news than what we thought. And so still no official word on his status. But Clayton Smith in the Blue Jay running game, 242 yards, or excuse me, 230 yards rushing is still a good night for the rushing offense.
Yeah, and we'll also look at it. They had like 132 yards through the air. And so, like Coach Watkins mentioned on the radio in his post-game interview, their goal is to maintain balance on their passing and their rushing plays or yardages. And tonight, pretty good balance, overall. Pretty good passing performance. Of course, their rushing game is always going to be strong, but, give it up to J.P. Bruner and Keaton Callens for really leading that offense on the ground tonight.
Piedmont Wildcats as a team, 167 yards, and Coach LeGrande, let's give credit to Piedmont. They're a better team than we thought.
Oh, yeah. Last week they broke that year losing streak. They went 0-10 last year, and they got a big victory last week over Harrah, and they came in tonight with a lot of confidence, and we mentioned it several times during our broadcast that, hey, it may have been a moral victory for them, but they're looking for bigger and better things in their program, and hats off to their coach and their coaching staff and their kids for never quitting and playing hard till the bitter end, and, very good performance. I was very impressed, and Coach Watkins gave them kudos after the game as well.
Before we talk about the direct lines next week, and Coach Watkins said it so perfectly. He's been telling us all season long and did in the postgame show. If you're expecting like a dream season a year ago, you're mistakenly wrong, because that was an amazing team that we saw last year, and it's just not fair to compare this team to last year's team.
I agree. It's totally very appropriate what Coach Watkins said. Some unrealistic expectations for this Blue Jay team, and 2-3 years ago, winning 35-7 by 28 points was a really big deal, and so now we've we've just raised the bar so high and those expectations are so high that sometimes we get a little unrealistic. But I tell you what, like you mentioned, homecoming week, Durant Lions coming to town. They're a very good football team, and they're going to come into Guthrie, Oklahoma here at the Rock with a lot of confidence and thinking that they can come in and create an upset, so to speak. But anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. Right now the Rock's empty, but next week at this time it's going to be a packed house, a lot of excitement, alumni come back, and just a lot of fun leading up to the homecoming game on Friday night.
Another thing before we leave you here, Coach Watkins alluded to the Blue Jays on a 17-game winning streak. Everyone on the schedule was going to be hunting for the Blue Jays anyway because they're the defending 5A state champions. Add in a 17-game winning streak. Add in they're going to be the unanimous #1 team in Class 5A. And Coach Watkins kind of endorsing, we don't mind being #1. We've handled it before, but here comes everybody.
Oh, absolutely. And you mentioned that you have the bullseye on your back.
Yeah.
If it wasn't on your back coming into the season, when you look at the polls in the newspaper, the Tulsa World, the Oklahoman, the coaches' polls, I'm sure there'll be a unanimous #1. But, hey, with that comes the added responsibility and expectations, and that's something that this coaching staff and this team certainly does not back down from.
I said, final question, one more. Hank Hudson, he's perfect on PATs.
Absolutely. Hammer and Hank has made, I think he's 9 out of 9 now on, is that correct?
He had 3 against McGinnis, 5 against El Reno, and then was it 5 or
5 tonight?
5 tonight. So
that's right. Coach Michoud in his post game said he is very pleased with Hammer and Hank and the progression that he's made, and he's gotten bigger and stronger over the summer, and he's really worked at it. And that's a very important weapon come playoff times, is just being able to convert those extra points so that you're not chasing point as the game progresses.
Well, Coach LeGrande, we got some Durant Lion homework to do, and we'll talk about it this week on GuthrieSportsPage.com.
All right. Look forward to seeing you next Friday night.
For my partner, Chris LeGrande, I'm Chris Evans. Thank you for watching Guthrie Sports Page Television.